Did you see Iron Claw?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I still haven't seen
You
it.
haven't seen it. I liked
I
it.
still haven't seen it.
It was enjoyable.
I got it. You've seen it, right?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
What do you think?
I liked it.
Have you seen? What are the other like big things that are coming out this year? Is Maestro? It's another one.
I started a little bit on it on Netflix.
Yeah. I couldn't finish it, huh? Not that good.
Yeah, kind of like I kind of like I started getting on my phone and then I was like, and then I was
That's
like,
hard.
And then it's over. Once on your phone, it's over.
Yeah, no, and then you're watching because you watch movies at home and you can't help it.
It's a lot easier at home. Yeah, if you're at a theater, you're trying to mind not to look at not look at your phone or something or your watch.
I don't look at my phone. You mind not looking at it? Like
sometimes
you have
I
a harder
do.
Time?
Yeah, for real.
Jesus,
I think I'm addicted, dude. Honestly.
What are you looking at? You're not on social media.
Oh no, I'm not.
It's just Reddit.
It's just Reddit.
Yeah, dude, Reddit's got you like that. Huh?
No, yeah, it's got me by the balls, literally.
Are you a mod in any?
A couple.
Yes, I knew it. Nice, good catch.
I had a feeling.
What?
You're giving mod vibes.
Yeah,
what pages are you a mod on?
But I'm not a good mod. Just to tell you.
What do you mean by not a good mod? Like you let things slide?
Yes, honestly.
Okay, cool. All right,
because
all right.
You know me. I have a difference of like what's funny to other people sometimes because there's some mods.
You're not easily offended.
Yeah, there's some mods that are like, oh, it's bullshit, ban them, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that was actually kind of funny. I mean, it just kind of let them know, hey, don't do that, something like that, and then kind of give a warning. If it's something truly like, come on, you're.
Have you deleted people's comments and all that stuff over that?
Yeah.
After you warned them, you deleted and you.
No. I just delete it, and then they're usually like, what the hell and stuff, and then they try to put something again, and that's when I let them know, hey, you were deleted. It was deleted because of you saying dumb shit.
But it's banned, right? You get banned or kicked out.
You can just delete the comment that they made. You don't have to
kick them out.
This is all going in the pod. I want all this to start. By the way, this is West Box Score. D-Bot, what's up, man? I love that we're in the person, first of all, and in person in a beautiful facility here.
Yes.
Not just me and D-Bot, as you heard. Rick the Mod Esparza. Rick the Mod Esparza. Let's go. And Big Money Matt Paz, what's up?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
What's going on, man? It's great to see the voices and not just hear the voices. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wait, what did I just say right now? Did I just say words? I see the faces that I hear when I hear you guys on this podcast. So it's pretty dope,
Awesome, man. No, it's great to see you in person. We had one meeting once in real life.
That's true.
I was really quickly at NAMM a couple of years ago, and it was really like I was excited to meet you too. Like just like, oh my god, what's up, dude?
Yeah, a bunch of audio nerds,
Yeah.
So I think my Big Money Matt here is living up to his title now as executive producer of the show. Since you've given us a space here.
Oh, there you go.
Boom.
Yeah.
So this facility here, man, beautiful in the heart of Pasadena.
And like the elbow, or the shoulder of Pasadena,
But the facility is nice, man. What's the name of your studio here?
So the building actually is called That's Real. It's a studio that a good friend / client of mine built probably about 15 years ago or so. And he's a singer, songwriter. You can see his plaques on the wall, And has a lot of credits to his name with a lot of major artists, and he built this studio that's like his baby, right?
Yeah.
And recently he's doing it big time, and he actually moved out to Santa Clarita and has a vineyard and a ranch, and he's doing that life out there, and he's building his own little studio there. To tell the quick story of it, my last landlord at the old Skybox basically kicked everybody out of the building and terminated everybody's leases, and there was a bunch of studios. And pandemic shit. Oh, sorry, I can't say that.
Nah.
But
pandemic was shit.
Yeah. So in looking for a new spot, I noticed that he was building a new location, and I remember coming to this location about 4 or 5 years ago to record, and I asked, "So what's happening to that spot?
Right.
What's going on?" And he didn't want to let it go, so I basically said, "Hey, well, let me take over." And so I moved my stuff in, and here we are. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's a great spot to have, and definitely lucked out for sure.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful here, and thank you for having us here and letting us record this podcast here.
Yeah, nice.
You too can also. I mean, it's available for bookings. First off,
That's right.
You
Yeah,
let people know that right away.
Yeah, the skyboxstudio.com. Check it out.
Yes, for sure, for sure. It is lovely, man. I really dig the vibe here. I love the wood like cabin feel that you have in here.
Yeah,
It almost feels like you're in the mountains while you're in this room. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like that.
In the mountains while you're in the hood.
Yeah, exactly.
The Hood Mountains.
The Hood Mountains, exactly.
I mean, I'll be serious because out to like Pasadena is already near mountains for like in the valley, right? You're in the shadow of the mountains. You have this vibe here, and it's as we're recording this on a Sunday evening, going into the night. It's cold out. It's windy. You got this mountain vibe in this room, man. I'm waiting for some hot cocoa, or maybe a hot toddy right here, man, as we record this episode. So you're gonna start hearing some of them vibes real soon, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, for sure. But so the big news right now we got to get into we got to do the state of LA sports.
Yes,
because there's so much going on right now. So we got to lead off with the biggest news in LA, that LA is officially a Dodger town. I mean, there's always that hype of it. Is it a Lakers town? Is it a Dodgers town? For the next 10 years, there's no question it's going to be a Dodgers town. And that's because Shohei Ohtani. It's showtime for the next 10 years.
Yep.
He finally came to L.A.
Yep.
To the real L.A.
To the real L.A., yeah.
Man, 10 years, $700 million. Deferred. Like $700 million. It's nuts. Like, how are you gonna afford $70 million a year? That's insane.
That's rich people math. You know how there's girl math, right? There's rich people math, and that's how they play the game. So everyone is shocked about that contract, right?
Right, and everybody's up in arms over it. Like, oh, that's not fair. Man, if your team would have done it, you would have been so happy. You're like, that's just smart. That's smart baseball. It is. It's smart baseball. And I couldn't believe it was the Dodgers who actually did it for the first time.
Man.
Lifelong Dodger fan. I've never expected them to like make a deal this good.
No.
I've always seen them bust on like a Jason Schmidt, on an Andrew Jones, like just bad contract after bad contract after bad contract. The Kevin Brown $100 million contract comes to mind too. It's like, this is insane that we actually are set up with the best player in baseball for the next 10 years.
Yep.
And not only him, he didn't come alone.
Yeah.
He's like the NWO. He's got somebody else. He's got the second man. And the second man, not Scott Hall,
Yamamoto.
Man.
Yeah, that was trippy.
Yeah.
The ace of Japan.
Yeah.
Team Japan, World Baseball Classic, just 3-time MVP over there in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, is it gonna translate here in MLB? Is what a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't his team beat the U.S. team, right?
That's right. Japan won the World Baseball Classic last year.
They did.
So it's insane too. That's a big contract, and that's one for 11 years, right? Or was it 12 years?
12 years, $300 million.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't understand baseball contracts. I'm definitely more of a basketball head and football head, where you're signing these guys for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years tops. So 12 years. How does that even work?
Yeah, it's made up money. That's pretty much that's pretty much it. It's just made up money.
Does anybody ever last?
Are you talking about? You're talking about the length, right? Yeah,
right.
Usually that's what it's supposed to be. But I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like sometimes with these big contracts, like they'll go 5 or 6 years, and then maybe if they start to decline, the team will start moving them away.
On longer term contracts, there's always opt-outs, whether it's from the team, whether it's from the player. There's always going to be that in the contract. With Ohtani's contract, because so much has come out from it, he has opt-out clauses in it only if Andrew Freeman, the current president of the team, or another minority owner from the team leaves. So if those two individuals leave the club, are fired, or decide to leave on their own, that's what activates Ohtani's opt-out. That's when he could be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave the team. If they're there still, then he has a full no trade clause. Meaning if they decide to trade him year 7 and they have a deal with the Padres, let's say, Ohtani could veto it. He gets to be like, I'm not going to play for the Padres, which I could see that. So it's just like, that's the way the baseball contracts last, because they can play. They're going to probably play for 10 years. And not start declining until about maybe year 8, year 9. And that's when you kind of want something some kind of opt-out will happen. Rather be a mutual trade would happen. Meaning Ohtani wants to change your scenery, or if that's all possible too. Or it could run out. The 10 years could just run out. Be like, you know what? Let's come back for one more.
Yeah.
I.e., Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Kershaw's like the best example. Like Dodgers the only team he's ever played for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's been here for a long time. He's like in his mid-30s now, right? So it's like that's a long time to be playing for one team in baseball. And but that's the only that's a good example.
And every year it's like a 1-year contract. 1-year contract because it's like I don't know how my body's feeling. Like I'm gonna see how and it works out for him and the team.
Yeah.
Because they'll give him a good amount of money for 1 year. And that's where he's at right now. He's currently a free agent. And he had surgery over the offseason, and he may not be healthy till around summer, which is like halfway through this upcoming season. And there's talk of the Texas Rangers swooping in and signing him because he's from Texas.
Yeah.
And at that point, he wouldn't have to come to L.A. and live for the season. He wouldn't have to be away from his family. So there's some, there's some drama there where it could happen. But do you really think Clayton Kershaw's not going to want to play for the super team that's being assembled right now? Yeah. We also forgot to mention Tyler Glasnow was acquired.
That's right. Yeah.
Tyler Glasnow, when healthy, mind he's got some injury issues, but he's an ace of a team too. He was the ace of the Tampa Rays.
Yep.
So this team is looking good, and I'm telling you, as a Lakers fan, Matt, the Lakers won the play-in tournament, or what is it called? Not the play-in tournament.
The NBA Cup is okay. So it's called the NBA Cup,
same thing.
But they keep calling that's okay. So I have a thing. They keep calling it the in-season tournament, but it's the NBA Cup that they win. So why can't we just call it the NBA Cup?
Right.
But everyone still calls it the in-season tournament, which I get it. But it's the NBA Cup. It's like anything. Any soccer cup is the cup. We don't say in-season tournament or like whatever. Like.
But why wasn't there a sponsorship put onto this? Because that would feel different. I think that would have been smarter, like the American Express Cup or whatever, right? Because don't you think it would have felt better? Like it would have meant something a little bit more.
I think
it would have been smarter for finances for them, for the league, and for fans too. For us to be like, wait, is this an in-season tournament? Is this the championship? Like,
I did read up on the fact that why they even implemented this to begin with. And from what I heard, it has to do with the fact that the NBA rights are going to be up in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And supposedly the NBA is thinking whoever gets the rights after this, if ESPN's willing to put up more money again, or if they go elsewhere, maybe a streaming service, which is in the possibility now with HBO Max. Was it BR Sports is now on HBO Max, and you can watch the TNT games on the Max app now. You don't have to have cable. So like, what if TNT just buys it all right and says, hey, we'll put it all up on BR Sports through the Max app. And then they're thinking, okay, what if and this is something that I know they do in soccer with all the little independence tournaments where like, hey, TNT may buy the NBA all outright, but the in-season tournament, and I call it that now, what if it's like, hey, like, what if Fox or whoever is like, hey, we want that one, or NBA and NBC, remember, it was like a staple in the 90s for us. Yeah. Like, what if it's like, hey, what if we kind of somewhat get that back, but not in the full season, but maybe we just take this small tournament and it's somewhere else. At the end of the day, I think it's about them getting the most out of, the league and all that. And this is another incentive for them to sell it off, either as a combo or like, hey, one network has one and the other one has the other one, and they made out on it a really good, solid deal. That's what I heard.
I mean, it makes sense when you, as fans of world football, it's like that's what they do in Europe all the time.
Yeah.
Right? There's the league, and then there's Champions League, there's Europa. Yeah. There's just there's
FA Cup,
the FA Cup. There's always
there's
always other tournaments going on within those leagues.
Yeah.
So question as a outsider for us, because I'm not the biggest soccer fan if it's not the World Cup, right?
Yeah, I hear it.
Because to me, it's like if you're not rooting for your team, who you're really rooting for, right? So
for sure.
So it's, but I get it. There's so many different teams. How big are those cups, the smaller cups, to those fan bases?
It depends on that kind of area. Some places it's really big. Other places it's just kind of a cash grab in a sense. You can kind of see it.
And I think it also depends on, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the size of the club.
Yeah.
The size of bigger clubs probably don't necessarily care too much because they're probably going after the league, the league that they're in, that cup. But I think the biggest cup in Europe is the Champions League. Would you see that's even bigger than
because that means your club is the champion of all the clubs within the European continent. So that's why the Champions League sometimes to certain clubs means a lot more than them just winning their own country league. Like I'm thinking of like Barcelona if they win the Spanish league, then they're just the kings of Spain. But then if they win the Champions League, they're the kings of pretty much all of Europe. Right. You know what I mean? So
I guess the equivalent would be like if the NFL and the Canadian Football League, and then maybe if Mexico had a football league, like decided, okay, are the champions of our leagues are going to play in a tournament against each other, and they're going to crown the best champion of North America. That's essentially what that Champions League is.
Yeah.
So and that's why they probably hold that one with the most prestige, even more than their own leagues.
Yeah. And then to your point, to answer your question on, like they said, some of the cups matter more than others. There are certain cups on certain leagues, like with the Champions League, like some of the smaller cups, like the FA and all that, where if you win it, it gives you like you get like a sort of
like a buy-in.
Yeah, you get like a slot. You get seeded now. Whereas if you didn't win the league, if you win the league, you get seeded. But if you win this cup, you also get seeded, but on the lower tier. But like it gives you a shot at the Champions League, which is the bigger Europe one. So it gives.
So it matters more.
It's like going to
there's incentive.
Yeah, it's like going to a tournament and you're playing. You're in a pool and you're trying to get in through that way through a buy-in.
Yeah,
and then that's how you get into the bigger actual leagues, like the bigger actual cups. Yeah, and that's what that's what incentivizes the smaller leagues like that to kind of get in, kind of get their dip into it that way.
Yeah,
and I think that's what the NBA Cup's missing, right? Because there's really no incentive. See, we're trying to make it a thing. We're trying to make it a thing. You know what I'm saying?
NBA Cup would make it great if it had D League teams in it. That's what needs to be in it, but like an FA Cup.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that gives you the excitement of like, maybe the D League Lakers aren't going to beat the NBA Clippers, but what if they did?
What if they did? Yeah.
What if they did? And then that creates a whole new level of excitement.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of watching this D League team trying to make a run at a championship because a lot of the NBA teams don't want their best players playing in these games until it gets to like the final games, and then that's where you'll see like that Cinderella story may end.
It kind of it reminds me of March Madness if you're playing it like that, where like sometimes there's that one team that takes off and they're
Cinderella
like
story.
The Cinderella story, and it's always like, do they make it to the Elite Eight? Do they make it to the Final Four? If they make it to the Final Four, it's like, whoa, like they might be, and then. But it's just fun to see that there's like an entertainment aspect to that. That I think plays a huge role. So
I don't know. The NBA Cup.
So there's no incentive other than they get paid, right? They
the TV, right?
That's for the players.
For the
players.
They
get
extra dough.
Yeah, they get. I forgot what was it. $500,000. $500,000.
So it doesn't mean anything to the LeBrons and ADs of the world,
right.
but to
But isn't that why he was like so pumped for
some
like,
took
rookies
took it
to like
serious,
get
though.
Yeah. I saw you. Yeah. He looked really happy when they won it because he was happy for the rookies, right? For the young guys.
Yeah.
To have like something to like, hey, you actually won something.
Yeah,
because important, and then you got some cash for it.
Yeah, because I heard that in the development league, it's I think they get paid like 30 or 40K per season, right?
Yeah, it's like they have a regular job.
Let's just say you have like a regular job. So let's just say you get signed on to the Lakers as a two-way player, meaning you get to be on the main roster, and you're at that bottom of the bench, like $500,000. Pretty life-changing to you coming from
of course.
Earning so little in the development, so
So Matt, got to ask you about we went from world football.
Yes.
We'll talk about the world football that goes on here in the United States. You don't watch it much, but you do know the best player in all the world of football is playing here in the United States now, right? Lionel Messi.
Oh, yes.
He's now playing for MLS. Does that give you any interest in watching it a little bit more?
Honestly, not, because it feels like he's on the tail end of his career.
Okay.
So, I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels like it's more of a,
When Kobe was on the tail end of his career, were you still watching?
Not as much.
Not as much.
And I think not because of, because I think it's a little bit different, with the Lakers, because if you're not going to win a championship, then what are we doing here? Like it's I know that's probably one of those toxic L.A. Laker fans where it's like, it's
yes.
we win it or it
yes.
don't matter, But I mean, I watched it because of Kobe,
For sure.
And obviously, you got to see his final game, especially when you knew that he was going to leave. Like I want to say probably after they traded like Poway, and you knew that he really was, and he had tore his Achilles. I think it was like that season where you're just kind of like, okay, this is not going to be. This is just the Lakers are just going to pay him a lot of money, and they're going to just basically tank the rest of the roster. And he knew. I think Kobe knew, and I think at that particular time also the Warriors were kind of taken off, and you're like, there's no way we're ever going to catch the Warriors at that point in time. So yeah, it was rough, so like because you almost don't want to see your favorite player not be at his prime, right? Because it kind of will be like, man, like he's not there anymore. So I mean, I don't know, for Messi fans, how do they feel about him right now?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's not like the way you're saying it, only because where Messi is right now, as opposed to Kobe, it's because Messi's coming to Miami not just by himself. That's another thing too. Yeah. It's like, imagine if Kobe still had his career. Yes, he's starting like that. Imagine Paul doesn't get traded. Powell doesn't get traded, and then they decide, we're also going to keep like some players who can help contribute, right? Like, you know what, Shaq's got like one good year left in him. Yeah, let's bring Shaq in to play center and for like a couple for like take a couple more runs at some titles for him. Because that's essentially what Messi's doing in MLS.
I mean, also, Messi came to the MLS after winning the World Cup in Argentina.
Yeah,
which is why it's a little hard for like a lot of fans to feel like, oh, he's like on a downward. But then at the same time too, like if you watch MLS, like if you ever get a chance to watch MLS and then you watch any sort of Europe soccer, like you realize like, how much like
his worst day is still the best freaking game in the MLS.
There were some matches I watched,
quality wise, of how
there were some matches I watched where I could see like, oh my gosh, this feels like he's in a backyard, like because of course of the like the quality just not being at that level. So it is tough to say, but I do get what you're saying about the age and stuff, because he is like what 35, 36. Yeah. He's, you know what I mean, like. He did a lot in that tournament. Was it Leagues Cup? You know what I mean? But then after that, he had to take a break and stuff, and then go play for Argentina for a bit because they have qualifiers. So it is one of those things where like I think he's doing a good job, similar to LeBron, of like figuring out how to make himself not look like he's not being able to hang for like the 90 minutes, even though he kind of can. You know what I mean?
So I guess the way I think about it, which I could be totally wrong, but if he was in his prime, why is he playing in an MLS, right? Why isn't he still playing for his team? Like one of the European teams, or who was he playing for?
Well, he was at Barcelona, and then he went to Paris.
How did that relationship...
that's a great point that you just brought up. Barca wanted to bring him back, but they couldn't afford him.
That's right.
Afford to pay him. Miami is just bankrolling being bankrolled by the league, essentially to bring him in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of funny things going on with the numbers.
Apple got involved too.
Yes, Apple got involved. There's like an endorsement.
I mean,
Saudi Arabia was really the league in Saudi Arabia was really trying to back it up. So I'll tell you one thing. Yes, he's tailed in, but imagine it's like, even bad Kobe was still amazing to watch. Of course, right? Like even an unhealthy Kobe was still amazing to watch. Because you still saw those flashes of like that greatness.
Of course. Especially the last game, of course.
The last game.
Yeah.
So imagine Messi kind of puts up last games like that on the regular.
Yeah.
He's kind of just doing that now, like in the MLS. So
interesting.
It's accessible. So So when you watch World Cup games,
yes.
What teams are you usually watching the World Cup? And like, are you watching just like all the games as much as possible?
Yeah, usually I'm just watching all the games because obviously, the US only gets so far. Right.
No, for sure.
And then like I enjoy the World Cup. Really is the only time I really enjoy soccer, to be honest with you.
And because that's a whole nother level. Even for us as soccer fans who watch all the leagues and all that, it's a different level. And I would say World Cup games are on a different level, but I mean the closest when you watch like Premier League games, which is the English League or Spanish League, you'll see that level of competition is kind of almost there. Like it's not as good, but it's just like maybe a tier below it. And MLS is like a few tiers below. So you'll see that. So that's why if you're into World Cup soccer, you may want to get into like other like the European leagues, just because it'll satisfy your itch once the World Cup is over. So.
I would have to pick a team. Like what team should I pick?
Well, that's the thing. Like I don't really have a team in terms of like in England, I like the Wanderers because of the fact that they were the LA Wolves at one point. But then it's like I don't feel like it's a hard like, oh my gosh, this is like the LA team. It's not. It's like at the end of the day, they're a mid-table team and they're always going to be there. So like, it's like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like Liverpool is pretty much going to clinch it, I think, this season. And it's just like Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Arsenal.
United's never winning anything. The best way to pick a team is when you watch the World Cup and some players just like kind of stand out to you. Find out what club they play for, like on a regular basis. That's the best way to do it. Or else you're going to have a silly allegiance to a team just because one of your players that you liked a lot went to that team and you're stuck with that team now, i.e. Man United.
Yeah. What I do want to do is I want to go to England and go watch football at a bar in England, or at a pub. I want to experience that, because I've always seen it in the movies. They're all getting crazy in the pub, and I'm just like, I have to have that experience.
That's a great, for sure. I would love to go to England just to watch the games at the stadiums there. Yeah, because those look insane. Yeah, but I wonder if in the English pubs here, because there's tons of them here in LA. If they're any similar to the vibe, and the only way to ask is to go and ask one of the, somebody who's there. Yeah. But like, if just for that one that you want there with the pub experience, you could probably get that here, probably close to it. But I suggest you kind of watch that to get into the game because it's so good, especially with Messi being here. Yeah. Now we're able to see him now on Apple TV.
I mean, he's coming to LA on the first game for the Galaxy.
Less than 50 days.
Galaxy home opener. Inter Miami versus
in the beautiful city of Carson. California.
So
Galaxy is playing out of where now?
They're still playing out of Carson.
They're still playing out of Carson?
Yeah.
Home Depot? It's not Home Depot anymore.
Yeah, it's Dignity Health. Sports Park.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a long name.
It's a sports park because there's plenty of the U.S. team plays there. Men and women, they go there to train. Oh, gotcha. So there's multiple soccer fields there. There's a like a goals type of indoor
they do have a little turf
so there's plenty of that's why it's called sports park. Yeah, there's so much there besides that main field. Oh, there's like a tennis court where they have boxing.
Oh yeah, they have a boxing.
Whenever I think Andy Ruiz fought there one time.
Yeah. He did. Yeah, that's right.
So it's like the outdoor boxing area. Mm-hmm. So it's really
true.
It's a great facility there for any kind of sports. That's why it's a sports park. But so Messi's going to be live and in person.
Yep. How much are those tickets?
I don't know.
Well, okay, I'll answer that
because
Alex has season tickets, so it's not a problem for him to have to go.
Perdón. Okay.
No, wait.
He got the invite.
I was a smart investor. I bought oil during the pandemic. It's essentially what I did here with my Galaxy season tickets. I did it 2 years ago. Yeah. Right when there was buzz right after Messi won the World Cup, there was buzz. He was possibly coming to MLS. Yeah. So I'm like, well, gotta get in now. Yeah. And of course, he doesn't come until midway through the season, and the schedule's already out. And he actually goes to LAFC to play that game. So those LAFC fans were able to see him first. So at the time of my renewal coming up, I'm like, well, he's here now. And he hasn't come to Miami yet. So I renewed it. And now I'm reaping the benefits.
There we go.
And now, if you want to go see Messi in my season ticket seats, it's only $3,000 a pop.
Oh, wow.
No, I can't do it. I was thinking about it. Yeah. I was honestly thinking about do I put them on StubHub or put them just for shits and gigs? See what kind of money I could possibly get. But I just want to see Messi live one time, and I'll be happy. For sure.
So it hasn't changed since I last checked, which was couple weeks ago when they first went out, but right now you can only get the Miami game in a 6-game pack. Mm-hmm. So they're twisting your arm to get a 6-game,
5 extra games, but they're good games like the LAFC game,
and it includes the LAFC Rose Bowl game too, because LAFC and LA Galaxy are playing at the Rose Bowl again.
Gotcha.
And that's a big rivalry game you want to go to.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. It's not a bad
July.
package.
It's actually going to be July 4th.
Yep.
4th of July.
Wow.
At the Rose Bowl.
At the Rose Bowl. So
do they have a name for it? Is there like a...
Well, yeah. The rivalry is called El Tráfico.
El Tráfico. Yeah. Nice.
So, basically because when Barcelona plays Real Madrid, it's El Clásico, right? Mm-hmm. Was it America Chivas Super Clásico?
It's Super Clásico.
So it's like it plays off
those. It plays off of that. LA style.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
Great name, right?
Yeah.
Great name.
Yeah. It's funny because you say it and people get it. They're like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
So, how much are those tickets going for, Donald? To buy it, the 6-game package, if you wanted to get in, the cheapest ticket to get in is, at last I heard and last I checked, the ticket per ticket was $3,000 per ticket.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They only they make you get either if you want just the game by itself, you have to get the VIP, and it's minimum $1,000.
Oh, it is $1,000 each.
Minimum.
So it's $2,000 to get in.
Yeah, $2,000 if you want. So that's just for the home opener, and I think the Rose Bowl one they're selling it separately. But right now, I'm looking at it, and in order to even get any sort of pricing, you got to fill in a form to let them know that you're interested in this 6-game pack right now. So you got to fill out a form.
They got to run your credit first.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, and obviously that's that's just so that their reps can call you every so often and be try to get you to get the full season and stuff. So they're doing everything they can to get you to really commit to.
That's how I started. That's how they hooked me. The first couple of Traficos that I had to go to. Yeah, we had to get the 6-game plans to get in there and go to five other games. So yeah, you kind of get your foot in the door. And as a Galaxy fan, when you start watching after you've been to a few games and you start watching them on TV, then you watch them on TV, you're like, damn, I wish I could be there. I want to be there at every game.
Yeah.
Because soccer is a lot have you been to hockey games?
Yeah. So, I've been to Kings games.
Right. So you know how those Kings games have a certain vibe?
Yeah.
And it just doesn't translate onto TV?
Yeah.
That's the way watching soccer is in person. It's just like that. It just has a different vibe once you're there. Would you agree, Rick?
No, yeah. All live sports are way different than what you're watching on television.
Yeah. You
get that buzz around you. Everybody's getting into it. Yeah. When you're singing at home, you can have somebody next to you. Hey, cool. But it's crazy to feel the whole when you're at the Kings game, go Kings, go. You literally feel the whole thing around you. Everybody's chanting.
Yeah, Will Ferrell saying it.
Yeah, pretty much screaming at everybody that's sitting next to him. Poor people that's sitting. But it's just a different vibe, and it's a great feeling to be at a live event like that.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Baseball, I think, translates just fine on TV.
No, yes.
I don't think you got to go to a baseball game. Baseball game, you're going to be all right.
I am 100% for real. Yeah, that's
it's
going to a Dodger game is it's fantastic for the experience. I know a lot of people are gonna probably boo me for this one, but you can have a great experience at home and you'll feel like you're there. I swear. Yeah. Just talk to your aunt in Spanish a little bit and have somebody next to you, and then one random dude just talking about how he wants to get a beer and everything, and randomly some dude trying to sell dips. Just say dips. Every once in a while beside you, and you're there.
Get nachos, put them on the floor, and step on them. Yeah, there you go. You're at a Dodger game.
Yeah.
No, I would venture saying this is maybe a hot take or whatever. I prefer watching Dodger games on TV than going to the actual stadium. Yeah. It is a pain in the ass getting to Dodger games. And now with Ohtani being there,
it's going to be insane.
I mean, what are those ticket prices going to be this year?
I know they went up a lot.
I haven't checked, but I can only imagine.
Single tickets aren't even on sale yet. Because I'm waiting for that too. Yeah. And I'm definitely going to be a dummy right there, going to be at one of the games. I ain't trying to go to no season tickets.
You're not doing opening day?
No, heck no. I ain't going to show opening day. I can't do it.
Show opening day.
I will be there eventually. And really next year, I'm holding out for next year when he actually pitches.
Oh, that's true.
Call yourself a Dodger fan. You have to help them pay off that bill, man.
He's not pitching this year?
No, he's still recovering from Tommy John surgery.
Maybe Tommy John. We don't know.
Oh, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
They haven't disclosed it.
Oh, I didn't
come
know
on.
I feel like the internet just mentions it like that. I'm like, okay, I guess this is what.
When they asked Shohei Ohtani, he says it wasn't another Tommy John surgery. It was another procedure similar to it. And he doesn't know the name of it.
So that's why they really went out there to
John's
grab another.
Tommy surgery.
They really had to make sure to get another freaking pitcher, right?
They were gonna need another pitcher.
Well, actually, that's true.
That's true. The way they flamed out in this postseason, it was like
the biggest thing was pitching.
Yeah, it was like that needs to be. And now with Kershaw out, it's like we can't. They needed a lot of insurance, Glasgow and all that. Yeah.
Now that so the Dodgers have obviously made so many acquisitions this offseason, and people are now referring to the Dodgers as the evil empire.
Yeah.
Rick, as a Yankees fan, or you claim to be, how do you think about the Dodgers taking that title from you guys as the evil empire?
I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna take that. Honestly, the Yankees have been too long the evil empire. They're the Darth Vader of everybody. Well, actually, no. That's a lie. Everybody hates Houston.
That's true. They're the biggest villain. You're right. They're the biggest villains in baseball.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. That's why I can't really say that anymore. Like, oh yeah, Yankees were the most hated. No, it's now Houston. Yeah. But as in pocket wise, villain, for sure. Yankees used to have the deep pockets, and we used to pretty much be able to get everybody and anybody in a sense. And it was just always an all-star team in a sense.
Yeah.
But now, the Dodgers pretty much took that name now.
Oh, for sure.
They have an all-star team, which is always surprising to me when they don't win.
Yeah. As far as winning, you're talking about winning baseball games.
Just
games.
I mean, just winning games in general.
Mm-hmm. I mean, most wins, I think, in regular seasons the last few years for sure. Like 100-win seasons are becoming a norm now with the freaking Dodgers. It's regular season, mind you. Yeah. Regular season. And that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
It's like this offseason, incredible. Like probably the best offseason any team's put together. And I think, was it last year, the Padres put the best offseason together.
That's right.
Like big trades, big offseason acquisitions, big contract extensions. They put together Slam Diego, right? And everybody was calling them the offseason champs, right?
Yeah.
So when fans are like upset about the Dodgers assembling this team, we all know you don't win championships in the offseason. Like I'm glad our team went out there to spend money. First off, that's what you have to understand as fans. We want our teams to go out there and spend the money. Yeah. We want big players brought in, players who are going to contribute to a championship. And just as we're talking right now, they just made another acquisition.
Oh, really?
Teoscar Hernandez from Seattle Mariners outfielder. I wish Sonny was here so he could correct me on the pronunciation of his first name. Teoscar Hernandez, 1 year, $23 million, all-star right-handed outfielder bat that we needed.
Dude, how the hell? Where's this money coming from?
Hey, man.
The deferment. That's why.
Hide the money, y'all. There's broke people around. Exactly. Oh, no. I mean, if you got it, spend it. We just said how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to go to Dodger games. Why is that? There's so many people going.
Yeah.
They lead attendance consistently for years, even when the team sucks. That's the one thing I'll tell you about it. Lakers fans versus Dodger fans. Dodger fans, when the team sucks, we still show up because it's baseball and we're going to show up and watch them. I sat through the McCourt years and they fucking sucked. Yeah. And I was still going. Yeah. Now that I know McCourt sold the team and it still owns the parking lot, I do my damnedest to not park at Dodger Stadium. So I take that Dodger shuttle or I've walked up there because I'm paying that motherfucker for nothing. He made me suffer. Yeah. And I was still there because I'm a Dodgers fan. Yeah. So now for the next 10 years, I'm reaping the benefits, man. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Evil Empire, yes. The blue evil empire. We deserve it. We've been through hell, man. We've been through hell. So now we got to go from the state of L.A. sports to a very important state of pro wrestling. All four of us here, right? Big pro wrestling heads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I start by saying, I mean, I'm not going to say AEW is dead just yet, but I made sure to buy an AEW sweater like the one I'm wearing here because I know it's going to be a collector's item with the next few years probably. And it's only because WWE is so damn hot right now.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how hot it is.
Yeah.
Where it's crossed over to mainstream, right? Where like Yankees, I think I shared a clip with you guys on social media with the Yankee Stadium playing, what song was it? Was it Cody Rhodes' song?
It was Cody Rhodes, yeah.
So it's like, that's everywhere now. Wrestling's back in the lexicon now and mainstream. So you got, I mean, because you got people like Logan Paul, involved within WWE right now.
Yeah.
So just currently where WWE's at right now, I guess we're going to go with that right now. I would say let's talk about what AEW is doing, but it's not doing anything right now.
Not, yeah.
It's running on fumes. Matt, how much do you watch AEW?
Not only the clips that young D-Bob will send me. You know, it's crazy. Just in general, I think it's one of those things that I still remember when ESPN started talking about wrestling. They made it like, okay, we're gonna give it an update. Like, oh, Roman Reigns won this, and I'm just kind of like in my head, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is interesting. Like, we're starting to like melt it into it being like a normal sport, right? Even though we know it's entertainment, but it's there's
some sports
level to it, and I think at a certain point now the wrestlers are starting to be more respected than maybe when like I was a kid and there was that sort of, you know, oh, this is all fake and this is all this, and you know, and you're like, no, it's not, you know, and then you're like, oh, then your heart's broken because you find out that it is.
Yeah.
But then I think as our generation got older, we started to see, all our favorite wrestlers start to get hurt or to start to pass away. And I think there started to be more of a respect factor for what these guys do in the ring. And I think that started to translate out into like the real world. And now people are more respectful of what these guys are going through. And now they're mainstream, now it's just part of the normal, their normal coverage. And then now UFC and WWE are merged into together, which is
much.
nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
To think that would ever happen, I would have never thought that was going to happen.
Right. Just because of all the bad blood there was between Dana White.
Oh yeah, Dana White
and Vince McMahon already.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's crazy. That's a real come up for just for wrestling in general, for sure.
So it's right now. We're a few weeks before the Royal Rumble. So Rick, I gotta ask you, if you were booking Royal Rumble going into WrestleMania season,
oh crap,
how are you booking this thing?
Oh my God, I have no idea with what they're doing right now. I honestly, like how I think they're going to book it, or
no. How would you book it?
How would I book it?
Because we know how they're going to book it.
Well, I'd still have Roman Reigns.
It got leaked, right?
Win.
The script got leaked.
Dude, it always gets leaked every single time. Apparently, I would still have Roman Reigns win. That's the thing, though. I think that they're good. That I would still have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble, just to have that in the back pocket to try to kind of move that around. For the is Gunther going to do the Intercontinental, or is right now?
I totally forgot about Gunther. Gunther's lost in the mix of all this, like Cody, CM Punk, The Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Well, you're telling me to. Dude, you know me.
I love
I'm
the way
you're
bringing everybody.
I'm bringing the whole thing. So I really don't know. I can't remember if he's actually going to be able to wrestle or not. I don't know what's going on with him. I remember he just had a kid.
Oh,
yeah,
Gunther.
He just had a.
Oh, Gunther's coming back by Rumble, dude.
You think so?
Yeah, it's just he's a paternity leave, dude.
Oh yeah, all right. Dude, you never know, man.
Well, you think he's actually hurt?
No, he's not hurt.
Oh, okay.
He's not hurt. I just wondering.
Or he's like, is he somebody who really cares about his kid?
Yeah.
He's gonna take all the time.
I don't know. Maybe
he's a wrestler, dude. He doesn't care about his kid.
Jeez,
awful,
horrible. Damn, family life. Hell no.
It's the business. Exactly. I gotta go on the road. I gotta make these towns.
So
that's what Gunther's got to do, man. It's pro wrestling. He's got to make the towns. He'll be there. He'll be there for the kid once he's older.
Well, I mean, he'll win his father of the year as much as Stone Cold did when he grew up. When he had his kids.
When the kid gets older, you could then be in its life like a Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to just say that. The kid ends up on the documentary talking about how absent he was.
Yeah, pretty much is gonna be like that.
I love that's what's stopping you from Gunther being booked here. I don't know. The kid.
Dude, you don't know how people.
That's what you get for being a good dad.
Exactly. I guess.
You're thinking about this guy. Not everyone's a good dad like you.
I guess so, man. I gotta start thinking like an asshole. I mean, I can, but
when it comes to the pro wrestling,
yeah. I think Io's still gonna actually retain her title, which is gonna be pretty cool to see because they're starting to build up more Japanese wrestlers. Oh, yeah, this is gonna move a little bit to the side of the whole thing, but they're really trying. WWE is really trying to get into Japan right now,
which is
so
smart.
Yeah, because that's like a new place with a top talent to actually get. Everybody's well, a lot of people that are really into wrestling have known about New Japan for a good while.
Right.
And they've been trying to get over there they've been just wanting to get to they even point to a point where they wanted to buy New Japan. And New Japan went, screw you. We're not going to.
They got that Bushi Road money.
Yeah, pretty much. They're not going to sell,
Them trading cards sell, dude.
Oh yeah, Vanguard? Yeah. Hell yeah, they do.
That's who owns New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. And Stardom.
And Stardom World Wrestling. All right, we get it, Mark.
Hey, you were beating me to the punch there, you bastard. What the hell? About calling me the Mark. We were fucking holding hands going down the line, fucking asshole.
Wrestling.
Anyways, but they're going to push everybody every Japanese star in WWE right now because
I wish they would though. I wish that was true because then they'd push Nakamura.
Well, they have been pushing Nakamura.
But are they though?
No, they're not pushing him great.
They're using him to build up Cody. Everyone knows that.
Okay, but who else then? Who else?
Right. It could have been anybody else.
It could have. Hey, dude, nah, don't. Tozawa's doing well right now.
Doing a good job.
His gimmick right now is fucking hilarious.
He's the comedic
dude.
relief,
for sure.
and I like that he's okay with that.
No,
it seems like he's okay with that, and I think it's dope to see. So, yeah.
So let me rephrase this question to you, Rick. Who main events night 1 and who main events night 2 of WrestleMania? Main events.
I think it would have to be night 2 would probably be Roman Reigns, The Rock.
Okay.
And then night 1 would CM Punk, Seth Rollins.
Okay. The Roman Reigns Rock match, is that for the Undisputed title?
I don't think so.
So you think he drops it before?
I think he drops it before. The reason because it just, why would you give it to The Rock? The Rock doesn't make sense to give it to him the title because we know that The Rock's just here for the show. He's not here to stay. He's doing way bigger, better things. He's making movies. He's making a shit ton of money. So there's no real reason to put the title on him, the belt on him. I mean, it'll be a crazy shock factor. It'll be insane. Like, oh my God, he actually won it.
Because all of us marks think we know.
Yeah, exactly.
What's gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
Like, there's no way Rock's going to stay and defend it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because it takes away too from the value of the belt if he does take it, and he's just as absent as Roman is, right? Like at least we know Roman being absent, he's still full time.
Yeah.
With Rock being absent, we're like, oh yeah, he's just making another movie. When is that movie going to be done being ready?
Exactly.
Oh, that's when we'll get him.
Yeah.
So, exactly. And people were talking about it like, oh, it's going to be like, oh, he can do it like Brock. I'm like, no, Brock was different. Brock was still there. I mean, he was part-time and he wasn't all the time there, but he's different. He's not out there making movies. He's not out there doing other things where there's other priorities for sure that are going to be over wrestling. The Rock isn't, for sure. It's his home. He always says, he came back home and all that thing that he always loves to do, but it's not his top priority.
That's why we're so horrible as wrestling fans. Like, we don't want that. Like, if The Rock does win, let's say hypothetically the main event of night 2 is Rock Roman and it's for the Undisputed title, that would be the shock value of The Rock winning it, right? Because like, there's no way they're going to put the belt on Rock, and because he's not going to be there. But so what? Let's say he does give him the belt. So what? He's making movies. Like, he's still not going to be there the way Brock's not there, the way Roman's not there. The only difference is we could see The Rock is doing something with Roman and Brock. We just don't know what they're doing. They're training. Yeah. They're resting. They're with their families. The Rock is working. At least The Rock we know is working, doing. We could see what he's doing. Yeah. It's the only difference.
Yeah. That was going to be my question. Like, what, for Roman and Brock being some of the biggest names in the last like 10 years, is it just that they're getting older, so they're can't do the grind anymore, or if you're the top talent in the league or whatever you want to call it?
No, I think it's more being smart about your body because of how older you are. Even Brock being a genetic freak, like literally a genetic freak, he knows that he needs to still take care of his body because there's a lot that goes through to be a wrestler. Like it's ridiculous. Everything you do in that ring hurts.
Yeah.
Just even jumping. Have you guys ever done like bouncing off the ropes? They fucking hurt. It's not even like what the hell you would think just a rope fucking work. Right. Dude, that even still hurts. Yeah. So that's insane for somebody to go through that. And these people go through it for years. Yeah. Through the indies, through small little shows, horrible things like that. And always like 10 plus years. And then you start seeing their bodies deteriorate so badly and something happened. And the smart ones do it like how they're doing it with Brock does it and Roman Reigns does it. Because that's how you have that longevity, because they're big enough stars that when they leave, they're still not really forgotten. They're not really spoken of that much anymore, but they're not forgotten. And when they come back, it's a massive pop. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if they left as a heel. It doesn't matter if they left as a babyface. When they come back, everybody's excited to see them.
And that's what's crazy about WWE right now. You just brought up Gunther, who should be in the main event spot. They still got Sami Zayn's story is really not officially, like, hasn't really been happily wrapped up. You got Jey Usos. You got Usos like still.
Oh, that's gonna be a match for sure.
These
that's
are
gonna be
such
awesome.
Great storylines and builds where The Rock really isn't needed for this Mania. It's almost like too much, right?
I mean,
it's like you're putting ice cream on top of ice cream on top of ice cream. How many damn scoops do you need in this bowl? Like,
well, if you really want to wave a finger at AEW, you're gonna do that. This is the perfect time if this is actually the perfect time to just really rail AEW because they just took CM Punk. Yeah. They got CM Punk back. The Rock is there. Cody Rhodes was one of the ones before that he left, and how big they pushed him and how over he is in the WWE to what we just talked about, that the Nightmares chant was being chanted at a freaking baseball game.
Yeah.
So it's just massive.
Yeah. So I mean, and then AEW I love is not going too quietly because they're trying to bring in like the Mercedes Moné. They're trying to. They just brought in another ladies. The Deanna
Purrazzo.
Purrazzo.
Yeah.
So they're trying to rebuild their women's division, which they should, because the only good thing they have on AEW worth watching is Toni Storm. That's the only thing worth watching on AEW right now. Now that MJF is gone.
No, I like Julia Hart.
You're right, Julia. Well, it's the women's division. It's Julia Hart. It's Toni Storm. It's what's possibly happening with Julia Hart and Sky Blue, and then of course Willow and Chris Statlander and Swerve is actually doing really good work.
Oh, dude, Swerve
is actually doing good work too. But that's all they got. Like other than that, like I honestly don't. That MJF Devil storyline was so boring for me.
Yeah,
like
I think they got screwed when
Punk signed.
when Adam Cole actually got hurt. Because I think they were going to do something a little bigger with that whole story, but then it kind of flattened out.
What could have they done bigger?
Adam could have been there doing a lot more things, especially wrestling. That they could have shown different ways of who could have been the devil or whatnot. And
to throw us off the scent of it being
exactly.
Adam. Okay, if it was too obvious that was Adam. You mean
for me, like from the get go, I was like, I think it's Adam. And then the more was going on. And then how it was just like, well, this is probably reading into it so much, where how Adam was pushing so much to Samoa, you have to have Samoa Joe and stuff like that.
Right.
I was like, okay, they're really showing their hand here that it's Adam Cole.
Yeah.
And he's just like he's can't really like stop them, because a lot of times you see him like, oh no, stop. But it didn't really sell that well because he was just sidelined in the outside of the ring when he could have been helping MJF. In moments like that, when he was just kind of sitting there going, no. So it made him look like, well, dude, he really isn't doing anything. So the story could have been much better.
All right. No, that's a fair point.
For me, I think the story could have been
That's a fair point. And I think the biggest telltale sign was what happened at Full Gear is when MJF may have gotten hurt and then Adam was going to sub in for him. Like, Adam's not cleared. Why would he sub in for MJF now?
You guys walking with the boot.
Oh my God. That's where they really, out of all the rewrites they did during that angle, they kept that one.
Yeah.
They kept that one. That's why they deserve to die, just for that one. That was the finger poke of doom. That was equivalent.
There is no. Come on. That
was the equivalent to the dude. We were there, Donald.
Yeah.
And I was there, like, just.
I was confused.
What?
I was confused.
This can't be right.
Yeah.
This is not what they're doing to us, right?
Yeah.
So that was the biggest insult to us. As honestly, like.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's where AEW jumped the shark for me a little bit. It's like
that's true.
That storyline, and then that's specifically that part of the storyline. Where you're to your point, yes, the injuries did hurt them, and they had to rewrite a lot. But that's what doesn't get rewritten, or that's the idea they come up with, and that's where that big storyline really got fumbled. Where now they should really pivot to a Swerve, put him in the main event picture.
I totally agree with you with that. It would be Swerve and Moxley, and that would be a big thing right now.
That's going to help them. That's the only thing that's going to help them right now at this point, because they need to focus more on the Samoa Joes. The Samoa Joe title run could be really interesting. I'm curious to see what they do with it, especially once Adam Cole gets healthy. I love that line he said to like, Joe's going to do the right thing and hand the belt over to me. Like, oh, I love that foreshadowing. That's actually really good. But now we need Joe to hold on to the title until Cole gets healthy, which I don't know if he will. I feel like he should drop it to Swerve, and sooner rather than later. But I also don't want Joe to have a short title run either. So I don't know. What are you thinking?
I really don't want Joe to have a short title run. I really want him to be a Brock Lesnar of what he should have been in the WWE.
Right, but Swerve is so hot though. Like, you got to put.
But you don't have to kill Swerve's.
You don't have. So you don't have to kill Joe to make Swerve.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do you get? How do you make Swerve?
Moxley.
with it, but
because right now you're doing it with the Hangman,
right.
because he's a veteran,
former champion.
He's a former champion, and it's people that still love him. Still, people still want that cowboy shit. So that's why he's still good there.
I've always been sick of that cowboy shit myself, but
I think he's still a big enough player that you can make that until you build him up to Moxley, because Moxley's still carrying a lot of it. It's Chris Jericho with his, I don't know what's going on with him right now. Honestly,
we don't talk about Jericho
exactly.
Right,
we don't talk about Jericho, so that's why you don't throw his name into it.
We don't ask him where he was on January 6th.
Oh no! Oh no!
But yes, but you're right.
But
Moxley
you
is
give him
big match John.
Exactly.
He's the John Cena of AEW.
Exactly. He's always been that one. Once he got into AEW, you could throw him anywhere, and he can make somebody, or pretty much say, no, he's not worth it. So Mox can go. Even if he's hurt, he can go. I would say you could go, you could put Danielson in there, but I think he has his own thing going on.
Right.
He has his own story, because this is pretty much his last run in a sense. Right. So I don't think you can have them do a match though. You can help, you know, he can help Swerve, but with a match, with a really strong match, because anybody that can go at least like a straight up 30 minutes, even if it draws. A lot of people don't like draws, but if it draws, it'll still be a great match, and it'll put Swerve up there.
Yeah.
And Joe can just take out everybody.
But that's the thing, right? This is why titles are what they are. They're supposed to make the wrestler, right? But the wrestler should make the title as well. And I feel like Christian Cage having the TNT title isn't doing anything for him. So that needs to be taken off of him somehow. He's in that feud with that. Rated R superstar.
Yeah, the rater.
Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
And so once that finishes, and you got to put some kind of title on Swerve. I want Swerve to hold some kind of championship. I think it would look good on him, with that whole swagger.
I don't think you give him the TBS title though, or the TNT title. I mean, because
just winning big matches is good enough. Well, we already know.
No. It's kind of like that Kofi Kingston run, where you want him to be the guy. You want him to elevate to that position. Kofi wasn't the first, black WWE champion,
right?
But the thing is, Swerve can be.
Right. Which is why we wanted for him so bad, right?
Exactly. That's why I wanted him to have it for a while already. But this is even a better story now that you can build into it. And they're already saying this story. He's already been saying it multiple times. Dropping the seeds, exactly. Yeah. That he wants to be the first black AEW champ. Right. So they're building that story right there.
And this is why they got to do it sooner rather than later, because we don't know how much longer AEW is going to be around, man. That's why I don't want this long term with Swerve. But
I still think they're going to be around for a while.
I know.
They have a lot of backing from especially from a Warner Brothers Discovery. They like them.
But then there's so much, if you read the dirts, that Warner's probably going to leave or not renew them and just probably sign like a WWE. That's the real nail in the coffin there if they lose TV.
That's true.
Yes. If they do lose Warner.
If that does happen, then AEW is done. Then AEW is going to be done, right? Are we going to pay for AEW Plus if they do their own streaming service? Some of us will, but if not enough to justify their existence, right? They barely justify their existence now. They don't even get millions. They don't even get 1 million viewers.
No.
But WWE to me was standing when it was the only thing. So as your competition, you always want to destroy your competition. You want to defeat your competition. But the thing is, WWE has risen to another level once AEW actually became a thing.
No, yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The competition, right? It spurred it. Yeah.
Exactly. So why would you want to do that? I mean, if it was still Vince McMahon at the helm, I completely understand.
You're saying
vindictive, just son of a bitch.
You're saying Triple H is going to start tanking soon?
That's
what it sounds like. Because you want to keep the competition.
But he's smart though. He knows that that's what's going to build. That's what's going to sell, and it is selling like crazy. It's making both of the wrestling shows great.
Right. But
You can't do that with TNA. You can't do that. Oh, well, yeah, it's TNA. It's gonna go back to TNA. Yeah. You can't do that with New Japan. You can't do that with, even if for some odd reason they do disappear, AEW disappears, and for some odd reason ROH still stays there. You can't do that with ROH. You can't do that with GCW.
What about NWA? You can't do that with NWA. That should have been their TV deal. Poor Billy Corrigan, you dumb bitch.
Do you think that based on what you're saying, do you think that it also factors in like just this whole, because I remember hearing Nick Khan's interview with Bill Simmons where he talked about the TKO weekends that they are kind of, brainstorming, where it'll be, probably won't be WrestleMania weekend because WWE would take both Saturday and Sunday, but it would be a weekend where like it's the UFC Saturday and then a WWE
TKO extravaganza.
Yeah. They're in the work. Obviously they're trying to plan something like that. He made it sound also that it would be the same venue. You know what I mean? Because it would, the idea is that it's you get the 2 tickets. The city would just be like focusing as if it was WrestleMania weekend, but with the 2 combat sports that they both own. And I just wonder if that also plays a factor to like AEW's kind of like, are you guys prepared for what's to come? Because this would also somewhat kind of bury it a little bit.
You bury AEW with those kind of combo weekends?
Yeah, I would think so. Because they have Collision, right?
I don't think so. I think the combo weekends would actually bury WWE. And I'll tell you why. As much as there's overlap of fan bases like us, where like we love WWE and UFC, there's a lot of that are not.
I was just about to ask
that. And you don't want them in the same area at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize there's toxicity on this side and toxicity on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not going to, it's going to be very combustible, I think. And I think it's going to do more harm than good. I think a lot of people may not want to go on those weekends. Like those hardcores are not going to want any, like, I can only buy a ticket for UFC 307 if I go to Hell in the Cell that weekend. I'd rather not go.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of that and vice versa.
Okay.
That's what I think. What do you think, Rick?
I totally agree. Because UFC fans are way different than WWE fans. Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's that mentality of how it was before, where that when you're at school and they're like, oh, that shit's fake and everything like that's not a real thing. That's a lot of UFC fans because they do see they're seeing 2 people trying to knock the shit out of each other, make themselves really tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When over here it's a show. It is entertainment.
Yeah.
It's a sports entertainment where they are hitting each other, but it's not at the same veracity that they're trying to kill each other. They're trying to give you a show. And they don't, a lot of UFC fans don't want that. They want the gore, they want the blood, they want the hits, they want to see somebody get knocked out.
They don't want the PG-13
exactly
version of it,
for sure. Exactly.
And actually, I was going to make a point about that because I would always tell my cousin that I always had a really hard time seeing Ronda in WWE, right? Because I knew her from the UFC, and I've known both worlds,
right?
But seeing her transition into the WWE, it's like it's unbelievable, right? Like when your favorite wrestler, you give in, right? You give into the story, you understand, and there's a sort of you just give in, with Ronda. You understand that it almost puts it in your face that it's not real.
You know what's funny? You bring Ronda as the example, and I would counter that argument why Ronda is not necessarily the best example of that, because you have a Brock Lesnar who is authentic, and that's the difference. But the thing why Ronda didn't succeed in pro wrestling is because she's disingenuous with it. Like it's just there's that layer of inauthenticity with her character and her performance.
Yeah.
And when you don't have it, it shows. Wrestling is all about that. It's all about making us suspend disbelief and making us feel like this is real.
Right.
Because we want that. We know it's not real, so we want you to give us enough authenticity in what you're showing us. So when you don't believe it, we don't believe it.
Right.
So that's what I always. That's why I never liked
Brock.
Ronda.
Is a great example. Brock is a great example
because it's the ferocity of which he delivers.
Right.
And it's just like, yes, this is exactly the way he would deliver in UFC. Yeah. And one or two times it might have been. Just ask Braun Strowman.
But what I will say about that is that Brock came from WWE.
Right.
So you already kind of gave in and understood, saw him like that, which is what made it even more impressive that he was able to win a UFC belt, because you're like, he's not real. Like, he's just a big guy, a big, muscle guy. He's not actually a skilled person. But with the UFC, it almost legitimized Brock even more, and probably even wrestling in general even more, because it's like, these guys are real athletes.
Right.
But yeah, I round up, to me, I was kind of excited about that because I felt like she was a real wrestling fan. So she would have gave it, her all, and she would have been, understood what it actually took instead of just kind of winging it, which it feels like that's kind of what she did.
No, but physically she could do it.
Yeah.
But the actual showsmanship part, she didn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
So Brock had that.
Yeah, Brock had that.
Even going back, there's been a couple people in the UFC that have been UFC before they were Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock. That's another one.
Was a guy, when you saw him, was like, he'll kill you.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle.
And everybody, Matt Riddle. He's a great wrestler, but his shtick was kind of weird.
Oh, no,
for me, it never hit. I was always wondering, like, is he serious? Is he not serious? But that's just who he was.
I'm thinking about like ring work.
But yes, but that's the thing though. Ronda
it has to be encompass all.
Yeah, it has to have both sides.
Yeah.
And Ronda didn't have that. She is a fan, and her thinking as a fan that she was just gonna be cheered by her people.
Right.
She thought it was gonna be her.
I'm like one of you.
Exactly. I'm one of you. But I can do it.
I need something.
Yeah, you need that story.
Yeah.
If you're not great, you're not putting on a story, and you can beat somebody up. It's like, great. That's an indie show. Go to indies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. That's where she is.
Yeah, that's where she is right now, because you can do something. She can do one-offs.
Right.
That's why when it was I forgot which WrestleMania it was, when it was her and was it her, Kurt Angle?
34? Oh wait. What WrestleMania? Oh,
I'm trying to remember which one it was. When they went Stephanie and
Triple H.
Yeah, versus, 31, the one we were at.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The one in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Or Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, whatever. That one worked out because it was a one-off. The story ended pretty much there.
Yeah.
They pretty much beat the hell out of her. She got Stephanie and armbarred the hell out of her, and everybody's like, "Yay, you destroyed."
Nice judo throw on a Triple H.
On Triple H. But it's a one-off.
Yeah.
But to keep a constant storyline going, you need that persona.
Yeah.
You need that type of that energy.
And that's thing.
She didn't have that.
And look, that's a great example. She was introduced to WWE audience that way. It was like a badass, with that that look on her face of, I'm gonna kill
Yeah, they always
you.
called her still the baddest bitch on the planet. They kept that up.
Yeah.
But then she'd come to the ring smiling.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what are you doing here? It's like you're not being your character.
Right.
And that's what came off as disingenuous.
She was a heel in the UFC. So she was. So she should have stayed that. I mean, it feels like maybe they tried to do that, but she just didn't want to play that.
Late.
It was too late.
Yeah. Well, and then it was a little bit too late at that time too, because it was because now it felt disingenuous, even more so. It's like, okay,
I don't think she could have played a heel at all, because she was too happy in the beginning to just be in the WWE.
Yeah.
Because she's doing her childhood dream in a sense, or one of her childhood dreams is to be a WWE wrestler.
Right.
And then after that, they started kind of trying to figure her out and stuff like, oh no, you need to be more bad, you need to be more evil and stuff like that. But
she couldn't do it.
She couldn't do it because she in UFC, she was a complete badass and evil because she got into that mindset.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
I am the best at this and you are not.
Yeah.
In WWE, she cannot get into that mindset.
Yeah.
It's a completely different setup.
Yeah.
She can't go in there and go, I am the best wrestler, because she knows she's not.
Yeah.
She can do it really well. She can sell okay. I give her credit. She took some bumps that were like, damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Good thing that your body is trained to take hits, because anybody else I would have seen not get up on a couple of those.
Yeah.
But she can't. I don't think she was able to get into that mindset.
Yeah.
And she couldn't be a heel. It just didn't look, like you said, it didn't look genuine.
Right.
It did just, she's a nice person. And she was happy that she's there. And when she tried to look like, it's like a little kid going, "Err," and that's pretty much
that's what it. That's
it's
what
pretty
it was.
much it.
Though.
So you're like,
you don't scare me.
Exactly. You're like, oh,
she's like a mean mug.
Yeah,
on,
exactly,
and you're like,
exactly. Oh, you're trying to be mean.
Yeah.
And but if she threw one at you, she decked the hell out of you.
For sure.
That was a different. But as in a storyline, you're just like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
But then after, like, okay, now move out of the way when the real heels come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the real heels show you how to do it.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't believable
Yeah.
for me. I don't know if
no, you're absolutely right. That's what I was getting across earlier. Why she didn't translate well to your point, Matt. And so in talking all this wrestling stuff, we could really spend hours on it. But I'm gonna say to wrap this up, let's go from booking pro wrestling to another thing that's being booked, and the script got leaked for this, to the NFL, because the NFL playoffs are getting started, and now the number one seed San Francisco 49ers are in the NFC. You got the number one seed with Baltimore Ravens in the AFC.
Yeah.
How do you book the Super Bowl? How are you booking this thing? Because it's definitely being booked, right? You got the Rams going to Detroit for the Stafford Golf Bowl.
Goff, yeah.
You're gonna see, is Goff gonna get
former
revenge?
teams going at each other.
Are you gonna get revenge? Is Goff gonna get revenge against McVay and the Rams for being traded away? Is Stafford gonna go in and job to Detroit for letting him go?
For the first round, that's probably the game I'm most excited about.
That's got to be right, because it's definitely being written. So that's
and they're both good teams.
No, they're both good teams. The Rams lately,
and from what I've seen from the Lions, scare the hell out of me. But the Rams are looking surprisingly finding ways to win, and even games where I think, why are you giving the game away now? The games where like they're blowing teams out, and they're like, okay, you're laying them back in. I don't like this. But they still come away with the wins.
Yeah.
And the way they've played against Baltimore that one game, in which I only listened to that game, and I was like, I can't believe they're playing this well against a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and mind you, today, as we're recording this, the Rams just played against the 49ers, and mind you, it was backups versus backups.
Yeah.
And shouts out to Puka Nacua for being the all-time rookie receiving catches and receptions, all-time leader.
Yeah.
So shouts out, man. So this Rams team, I don't know. I'm excited for the Rams as a Rams fan, but I'm not overly happy for them. Overly excited to see how far they go. Yeah. Even though anything could happen, and we can see how crazy the script is. But we all know it's being booked for the Ravens and 49ers, right?
Yeah. I mean, do we want to see that, though, given that they actually played already?
And right? Do they book it that way? Do they book the NFL that way? Where sometimes we get previews of the Super Bowl?
It's funny because with the Niners-Ravens game, I think a lot of the feedback that I heard, and just like overall, like when pods were like doing their reviews of the week, a lot of it was just like the Niners just needed to keep running the ball. Because apparently that they kept having Purdy throw it, and the receivers were always just, secondary took care of the receivers, and then Purdy was running for his life like the majority of the game. He got sacked a lot, and then he got 3 interceptions. So then it just kind of felt like, okay, maybe if it does happen again, right, Super Bowl, like, do they just run the ball this time?
Of course, it's part of the script. They're not going to show them the run game now. They're going to save that they're saving that for the big show. They're saving that for Mania. They're not going to give you all the spots now. Am I right or wrong, Rick? What?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Your Bucks are in the playoffs.
Yeah. The Bucks are in the playoffs because they're in the division area.
So how far are the Bucks going?
Rick's like, the division sucks. That's
the division sucks. Pretty much. Okay, in any other division, going 500 would get you in the fucking in the playoffs. Hell no.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not 500. They went over 500. They're like 5 something for percentage.
I think one game over. On the win.
Yeah, they pretty much squeaked out over the Saints for the division because they were 500 as well. Yeah, it's like, come on.
What would you say is lacking in the Bucks?
Everything,
even the receivers and all that. Because I like Godwin and what's his name, Evans.
They're good, but the thing,
running back.
Yeah, they do.
Running back.
You guys
That's
need a
right. They
running
don't
back.
have a run game. Yeah, Mayfield. I like Mayfield. I know he's not like all time, but like I think he's competent.
Evans is great, but he just it's glimpses here and there.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just doesn't catch the ball.
Yeah.
It's just like he has these times where he's great, and then the other times where he just they're I don't know if they're just pressuring him so much, or they a lot of times there are teams out there that they know that they're going to give him to him. He's tall, he's athletic, so they're pressuring him, and he's never open.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he doesn't make himself open. I don't really see him ever trying to make himself open anymore.
Yeah.
So if you can't get the ball to him, then there's still no good to have him.
So they need like another wide receiver to kind of deviate from. Yeah. Not everyone has the Puka Cooper Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Cooper Cup combo.
I'm telling you.
What's the third receiver they got? That's good too.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's been lately. Yeah, lately.
The only thing that worries me about the Rams, honestly, is I could see them playing a really good game and coming, and then they have to kick it, and that's because McVay doesn't know how to score once he's in the red zone. He stops. I don't know what play to call, and then and then we have to rely on a kicker that we don't have.
Yeah.
So it's freaking Rams.
Yeah.
But when this season started, I wasn't expecting much. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch. I wasn't expecting them to like be awful.
Yeah.
But I'm like, they're not gonna do much.
Yeah.
And then they freaking surprised
It's
me.
crazy,
Give me a little
right?
bit of hope.
I felt that too.
Cooper was hurt.
Right.
Kyron was hurt. So I mean, and then Stafford got hurt like midway.
So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be. That's why I'm like, it's gonna be that kind of year.
Yeah, it's just like okay, and then all of a sudden, just like towards the end, they just picked it up. So I mean, hats off to that.
And I wasn't expecting much because of the defense too. Like no cornerbacks. Like we
that's
just
right.
traded
The
Ramsey.
Yeah.
And like all we have is like Aaron Donald to do anything.
Who's the other guy that's rushing too? That's doing good right now. 91, I think is. I forgot his name though, but
so the Bucks are hosting the Eagles on Monday night.
Yeah, Bucks are gonna win that game,
right? Yeah, the Eagles are looking awful.
Yeah, Bucks are gonna win that game. That's gonna be the shock of the playoffs.
I love Matt's booking this. Go for it.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so
Matt's a Cowboys fan, so for sure the Eagles.
I was about to ask you. I'm like, there's no way you're automatically. Oh, the Eagles suck. Like that against the Bucks. Right off the bat. Oh, the Eagles are just so gonna get screwed over by the Bucks. They're shit. They're just shit. It's like no, brother. That means you're a Cowboys fan. Yeah, that means you're a straight up Cowboys fan. Oh hell no.
Well, everyone's hurt on the Eagles now too. So Jalen Hurts just like basically broke his finger.
I saw that.
Yeah, he was like flipping off the camera. So like
fingers don't fing that way.
No, that's not so. And just the way they've been playing, it's just like so
they flamed out.
Yeah, they flamed out there.
Who are the Cowboys playing?
They're gonna play the Packers.
Yeah, they're hosting the
which
Packers.
is gonna be demolishing. So
Sunday afternoon game. For you, on Fox.
Yeah, so I mean, I think our biggest competition is going to be
right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. When's the last time that it's been competitive, though?
The Packers and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
but for some like growing up, I always remember
Brett Favre doesn't play for the Packers anymore.
Like that's true, but still in my mind,
it's Brett Favre versus Troy Aikman.
It's always been for me. It's always been the Niners and the Eagles are like our two biggest.
Right. Now it's
rivals,
like that's right.
So and then obviously we got murdered by the Niners this year, so that wasn't fun. And pretty much every championship for the last 2 years, there's been, a terrible Dak play at the very end. But and so it's kind of funny. It really does remind me of the Dodgers. The Cowboys and the Dodgers. They do really well in the regular season, and then they just shit the bed at the right as soon as they get into the postseason. At least the last couple years, but. This might be what every Cowboys fan says, but this year's gonna be different, man. This year is gonna be different. I'm telling you,
it's the hope that kills you.
The hope, the hope. So, and I can't wait for the Cowboys to be in the Super Bowl and to see what Stephen A is gonna say on First Take.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he hates the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So you really think the Cowboys can get out of the NFC?
I do think that because of Brock Purdy I think that if the Niners have to rely on Brock Purdy to do it in the playoffs, I don't know if I trust that. I don't know if I trust that. I think that he's really young and that this is, not his season to do that. And I think that, yes, that's me saying that being that the Cowboys got killed this year, but I just think that the Cowboys are on a different level right now than they were since they played the Niners. So we'll see. We'll see. I know the O-line is banged up for the Niners too, so that also could be helpful for us because obviously our defense is one of our stronger suits. So we'll see. Brock Purdy's going to have to win that game, though. Brock Purdy's going to have to win that game. So
with his arm?
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to pick it as a close game. I'll pick it as a close game. It's going to be like 21-17, something like that.
So you have the Cowboys getting out of the NFC.
Yes.
And who do you have representing the AFC then against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl?
So I'm going to go with the Dolphins. So I think that if the Dolphins can put it together, I think that would be a crazy story because Tua was basically out of the league by the summertime.
His brains were scrambled. Right.
Yeah. Like he wasn't supposed to be. They weren't supposed to be doing it this consistently. And I think that Baltimore in their playoffs sometimes can be inconsistent.
Yeah.
So, which team is going to show up? It's just about which team's going to show up. So we'll see. And I honestly, other than the Cowboys, the Dolphins have been one of the funnest teams to watch. Probably because of Tyreek Hill, obviously. And just like how crazy, like every time I watch him, I'm just like, and also I didn't win my fantasy league, but I was third place, so I got a medal, right, for my league. And the only reason you got to hold that, the only reason was Devon Achane. I had Devon Achane on my team, and so I started watching Dolphins games randomly, right? And I was just like, this team can be super explosive. So we'll see. We'll see who shows up. They just got to show up. But yeah. So I'll say Cowboys, Dolphins, and I think that'll be my pick.
Cowboys, Dolphins, and you have the Cowboys going over?
I have the Cowboys going over, of course.
I mean,
are we being analytical here, or are we just being,
this is all make
what we hope in our dreams?
Exactly. You never in your dreams you want to win.
Yeah, in your dreams you want to win because like if I was just gonna put my analytical hat on, the Niners and the Ravens are scary for sure.
So you have the Niners and Ravens being the Super Bowl?
If I was going to be like super analytical about it and like, okay, are the Cowboys going to be the Cowboys? Are the Dolphins going to be the Dolphins? In terms of, maybe not showing up in the biggest moments, then yeah, I mean, the Ravens right now are looking nuts, So I would probably put the Ravens over the Niners though in the Super Bowl. So if the Niners and the Ravens get to the Super Bowl, I'll take the Ravens.
Okay. How about you, D-Bot?
If it's my fantasy booking, AFC, I would want to see the Ravens. I think they are the most scary, the most kind of fun to watch. I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's just, it's just a fun guy to watch. The NFC makes it tough for me because there's so many teams that I think can do it that could put on a good show. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like
because you got to get the ratings.
The ratings, yeah. Like Niners, obviously they got their guys. You got Kittle. You got even on the defensive side. Cowboys are always good to see because of I think there's something about Dak. It's just kind of like seeing can he pull it off? Is pretty much every time I watch the Cowboys, and when he does do it, it's always like damn, like. He did that. It always feels like he's overcoming something, which is kind of sad to like.
Well, I don't want broken in half, and then a leg with a 90-degree angle in it. That's definitely something to overcome.
It just feels it always makes me think like okay, but but I do like CD. I like CD Lamb. Like it's crazy to see how good that guy is.
Monster.
He's just insane. And then Detroit, for some reason, I just like how tough they are.
Yeah.
Like, they're a tough team.
They'd be the dark horse, I think. They'd have probably the best story to tell if they actually won the championship,
Yeah, exactly, right? And I know they've been building that up, right?
Story. Yeah.
Right? The coach was a player and this whole thing, and he came back, and now he's a coach, and he's leading them into the postseason after they were gone for what, like 10 years or something like that? I don't know, 20 years, something.
Yeah, it's their first time in a while, right?
Yeah, in a long time. And then I think the Rams is just like crazy because similar to what Alex was saying, like I honestly didn't think they were going to be much. I thought they for sure were going to be like if anything, at most like a bottom wildcard team. Mm-hmm. But like crazy to think how much Sean McVay has turned it around, and the fact that they figured that out halfway through the season.
Right.
I didn't see Puka being this guy. You know what I mean? I didn't. Williams as a running back, I didn't think he was going to do that. And it's just crazy to see. So it's always tough for me on the NFC side. It's tough because I would want to see one of those 4 teams be up there. But I think Detroit to me would be just like that. Like, wow, like the Cinderella story. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think Detroit can tough it out. I think, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like even though Goff's Goff, that's my only like kind of like come Super Bowl.
He got to a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he got to the Super Bowl, but then
despite himself, though.
it didn't look good. But like I kind of feel like, what if he did it again and now he overcomes that? I don't know, but overall, I think the Ravens is just I think the team that's gonna take the whole thing. Like, like I feel like it's built up for them to take it. Like they're all healthy, they're well coached. John Harbaugh is really good, and I know they're building up the story of Harbaugh. Possibly being up there, and then his brother winning it on Monday would be cool in Michigan, and then then the Harbaugh family has like titles or whatever.
And then he comes and coaches the Chargers
which that would be awesome because we need that. But yeah, Chargers, they didn't do anything, which just sucks because I always felt like
let's not talk about the Chargers.
Yeah,
right now,
no, it's not. I just felt the team, the roster's good. They have great players. It's just the coaching was always, and now look at what happened. Like you know what I mean? It's kind of like.
When is Herbert coming back? He got hurt, right?
Yeah, he got hurt. He got surgery. So, I mean, they're expecting him probably to be back by the start of next season. Okay. So he should be back. Everyone else should be back too. I think running back is the only thing they're going to probably have to figure that out.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah, that would be great too because I saw Derrick Henry said goodbye to Tennessee. kind of basically saying goodbye. So that would be great if they make the pull. I mean, again, ownership has to spend the money. You know what I mean? And I think they should because they're in L.A. And that's just what you do when you live in a big market. So go for Harbaugh. Go for Derrick Henry and let Herbert cook and my thing is hopefully we see them in the Super Bowl in 2027 when it's at SoFi.
Ooh, trying to take a page out of the Rams playbook,
huh? That would be
this fantasy booking here.
Rams versus the Chargers in SoFi in 2027.
Wow, that would be good.
That could be the first ever empty Super Bowl. Or I rather we take shots at our own fan base.
Yeah, for real.
No, so the LA football fan base is terrible, man. Like it's every time they're playing a different team, the other team is getting more cheers.
Yeah,
it's odd because we are here, and like I said, I call myself a Rams fan, but I'll be honest with you, I'm only watching Rams games, and I'm watching them like half watching, but like. Watching when plays are happening, but then once when names I forget a lot of their names, because I'm I'm invested. I want to see the play. I'm watching the drive, but I'm not intently following the players, and I guess that makes me a bad fan, right? Like because that
makes me an LA fan,
right? It makes me an LA fan, right? But to that point, we're not going to be at the stadium. I would love to go to a Rams game. I really wanted to go to that game against the Saints on that Thursday night at the time we were fighting for number 7 seed. But what's funny to me about 49ers fan base is 80% of their fan base is LA. Yeah. Like they're all like these LA transplants or LA fans who did when LA's didn't have a football team.
Yeah.
We're like, oh well, there's the 49ers or there's the Chargers.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, well, the 49ers kind of win, so let's support that team like a typical LA sports fan.
Well, it's always been like that. It's Cowboys, Steelers, Raiders, Niners.
He's right here.
No, I'm talking about that LA. LA doesn't really have a team. It's very rare.
I mean, the
we're
teams
still
left
split.
when I was a kid.
We're still kind of. So we're still kind of split though, right? Like we have 2 teams to watch and support. But Matt, you're still watching your Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm still watching the Cowboys, and it's tough being a Cowboys fan, guys. It's, what I'm just saying. Like a lot of people put us in like, oh, Cowboys fans. It's like we've been losing for 20 years. Like at a certain point, if that doesn't show how much of a fan you actually are, to support your team after,
that's true.
It's just after terrible season after terrible season, then I don't know what does. But I think that is a shame though. And I think that maybe with time, are we still going to be having this conversation in 10 years, right? I don't know, hopefully not for, LA teams, but I mean, they did it to themselves, man. The teams did it to themselves. You know, they left. You know, so what are you gonna do?
The league, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and I think it's gonna be different though for 10 years.
Yeah,
sorry, real quick.
I think so
because the Rams they have now embedded themselves in the LA community.
Yeah.
Every other team really didn't embed themselves like the Rams again.
Yeah.
Not like the years ago. It's part of LA now.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be different.
Are the Chargers doing the same? Slightly?
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're not investing money like,
they're the
like
Clippers.
Donald's been saying.
You know, they're the Clippers of LA.
Exactly, pretty much.
Yeah, we need a billionaire owner.
Yeah.
We need like a Steve Ballmer to take over.
Speaking of Clippers, man, that stadium's going to look so nice. That's
it does.
Interior dome.
Yeah.
It can look as nice as it wants to, but they just lost to the Lakers today. So that's all I'll say about that.
Oh, man.
I'm just glad Kansas City's not contending like that.
Well,
because it's the worst when you're another team in the division of the team that you root for wins it, because then it just feels like, oh, that's right, we got to play the defending champs twice.
Rick, did you book the Super Bowl yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so book the Super Bowl.
Well, for me, fantasy one that I want to see would be a great story, because I'm always like about storylines like that, stuff like that. Pretty much wrestling nerd, exactly.
Come on, let's go.
Exactly. It is Lions versus the Ravens. It is just like David versus Goliath kind of setup where that would just be a great story.
Yeah.
And that would be fantastic. Is that really going to happen? I don't know. Maybe not. It can happen because the Lions are actually doing really well.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, I still think the Ravens are gonna take the AFC.
Yeah.
But as in what's really going to happen possibly is Ravens Niners. They're both playing really well. They're both fairly healthy teams. Ravens are really healthy. So I think it's just going to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
home field advantage for both of them.
Yeah.
Going into, yeah.
the road to the Super Bowl
for the
is home
NFC,
field,
like you're gonna have to visit Santa Clara regardless.
The road to the Super Bowl goes through those two teams.
And then with the others, with AFC, you have to go to Baltimore, which I'm sure is pretty cold right now. So sucks if you're a West Coast
cold
team.
here.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah.
So once again, only watching Rams games, not really following the league so much. This is the first time I feel like it's kind of more open. Where like there's not really like the Chiefs are definitely gonna take it. Like you know,
or the
like
Bills, you know,
like it's got to go through the Bills, right? Like like it's.
What about the Browns?
The Browns.
What about?
Oh, that would be crazy.
That would be a crazy one. What about the Browns?
That would be crazy.
That's another storyline too. AFC, if it was Browns, Ravens, AFC title, like Flacco
versus Baltimore,
going back to Baltimore where he won the title.
Crazy. Script writers, get to it. Come on, NFL.
You know they're writing it right now. Rewrites. Oh man, but whatever it is, man, we're gonna be watching it, of course, because we are sports fans.
Yes.
Sometimes LA sports fans, we're not the most into every sport, but the sports we're into, we are diehards. Whether it's NFL for Matt, mostly baseball for me, but pro wrestling mainly a lot for me. D-Bot, you spread it. You spread it a lot more. You spread it more to the NBA. Then Rick is all over the place.
Pretty much, honestly, yeah.
He's on Reddit. Don't talk no shit on Reddit, because Rick will
I'll ban your ass. Simple as that.
Rick the mod.
Exactly.
Oh man, Big Money Matt, thank you so much for
of course,
allowing
guys.
us in your
fun.
space. The name of your space one more time.
The Skybox Studio. Appreciate y'all for coming by and having some fun with me here.
I appreciate you for having us, man. As always, it's a great time chatting up with y'all. So, D-Bot, that's it for us this week. See ya.
Later.